What's up, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Envision Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Brad's Gaming, and today I'm joined by Clonish Joe,
I am Joe.
and I'm also joined by Triple Bravo.
Hello.
Now, we are just three guys who are passionate about video games. We all have different interests in them, so hopefully we can cover all of the avenues for you. So, for today's topic is going to be our episode on first gaming memories. But before we get into that, I want the audience to get to know us a little bit, as it is the first episode. So, just want to know how you guys are doing. How's the week been? Anything fun and exciting happened today?
Yeah, doing pretty good. My gaming experience has been pretty lax because I went on a vacation to actually go up and see Joe in his hometown. Check that place out. It was a lot of fun. Joe's a good host. He only hit on me a couple times. That's fine.
Yeah, got to go to a Pirates game, witness some baseball history. Unfortunately, no hockey because the Penguins decided to blow it.
Yeah,
But
that was unfortunate.
you want to tell the sad Craig noises story, Bravo?
Oh yeah. So I believe Joe was the one that we were trying to figure out what to do because Penguins made us sad, and we're like, let's just go to a baseball game. So we went to a Pirates game. They were playing the Cubs, and a miracle happened. A runoff between home plate and first base. And if you don't know anything about baseball, don't worry about it. Just go look up the video. Pirates versus Cubs runoff 2021. You will find it.
Make a little correction to you. Run down,
Run down.
not run off.
Run down.
It's a rundown.
It's a rundown, but anyways.
He did run off.
Anyways, if a person is running from home plate to first, all the first baseman has to do is touch the plate and the guy's out. Now, what makes this a miracle is there are already two outs. So if the first baseman would have just caught the ball and put his foot on the plate, it was over. But instead, he ran after this guy, and chaos ensued. Like, no joke, like 7 errors in a row, like overthrows. It was beautiful. It's something you might see in a t-ball game, but you saw it in the Major League Baseball. So it was a hoot, and we were right next to first plate.
I'm going to request one of you send me a link to that later on.
First base, not first plate.
Easy enough. The links are everywhere.
Links for everyone. Other than that, the only game I've been playing is Biomutant. Pretty much got home on Sunday and have been playing that as much as I can, on and off after work and whatnot. Really liking it. It's a good game. I don't know if we want to talk about that now or later, but yeah.
No, it's cool. I mean, it kind of goes together, so not a big deal.
Sweet.
How about Joe? You got anything to fill us in? Obviously, you guys kind of had a similar week as you hung out together.
Joe, why don't you tell
Um,
us a story about the first plate? Little rundown, runoff. Yeah, we haven't heard that one.
The story you just told? Tell it again?
Yeah, from a different perspective, maybe with the
Okay.
proper nouns.
He was sitting one seat over to the left.
To the right, actually.
Oh, wow. It was a 50-50 shot.
No, we had a good time. We did some museums. We made it to a baseball game. Walked through town. We got to take Bravo to see the Penguins arena, PPG Paints. Got to go in, got himself a hat.
Oh, I would
Some
be
restaurants.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention pierogies. I'm from Oklahoma, and we don't have pierogies in Oklahoma, or at least nobody eats them. So we went to Pittsburgh, and they've got these magical little I don't know, pasta encased loveliness. You can put all kinds of stuff in there. and it's absolutely delicious. And I'm going to influence the state of Oklahoma to just have those everywhere. It's really good.
Watch this week you find some rundown shop in the middle of nowhere in Oklahoma that's been selling pierogies the entire time.
Oh, we found a place. Yeah, there's one place relatively close to where my office is that actually sells them, but they're we'll judge them. I'll come back next episode and have a review for you.
Pierogi podcast episode 2.
After tasting the real thing, you'll have a good basis. If not,
Yeah.
we'll start up our food truck.
Yes. Yes, I think it'd do pretty good. Oklahomans like food.
How about any games for you, Joe?
Yeah, so just recently coming out of a week of no gaming, decided that it's time to get through my Assassin's Creed backlog, starting with Origins and moving on forward. It's rough. The game holds up really well, but the combat mechanics are not entertaining, would be the nicest way I could put it. Outside of that, I picked up Metro Exodus on sale, so I could finally finish off that series. And then just to kill some time in between the days, I play some Civ 6. How about you there, Bradley?
Oh, my week, we actually celebrated my grandfather's and mine birthday on Joe's birthday, actually. So that was exciting. Just kind of pretty laid back stuff. Nothing too crazy. A little bit of house shopping, looking for a place with the fiance. But real life's just kind of boring. I was invited, by the way. I just wasn't able to go.
Oh yeah, to Pittsburgh. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was invited. It just ended up not working out, so I'll catch you next time. And then, real for game wise, kind of the same thing. Just kind of been busy, not similar to you guys. I haven't been playing too much. Kind of waiting on some things to get released to get me back into the swing of things. I kind of fell out of playing games since Resident Evil 8 came out, and I beat that. So I picked up Culdicept Revolt, which is a kind of obscure game on the 3DS that I know nobody's probably ever heard of. So I'm a big fan of card games, and as I'm sure, none of them two are going to say anything. With Hearthstone to me.
I respect card games.
Yeah. It's interesting. So basically, extremely quickly, and I don't know the game that well, but there are minions in it that all have different, I guess, types. So it's like fire, water, earth, and something else. It's like some default one. And if you place them on a terrain that matches them, they get a bonus. And it's kind of like Monopoly, just with minions and battling instead. Same thing, like if you land on somebody's land and you're not able to kill the actual creature, then they have to pay you a certain fee. I don't know how it's based, but I know you can level up the creatures and then make it so they owe you more later on down the road. They even have kind of when you pass go, you get a certain amount of points, except money, it's magic. So it's interesting. I'm only like 2 battles past the tutorial, so nothing too crazy. And then the other thing I also just tried out a little bit was Shinobi on the PlayStation 2. And that game is significantly better than I expected. I was testing it because I'm going through trying to sell a lot of my crap so I don't have to move as much of it. And I'm like, do I want to keep this? Yes, I do. I want to keep it. That's about it. So, yeah, moving on from there, let's actually jump into some E3 stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll do some game releases that are coming out this month that we're looking forward to. So, for E3, it's right around the corner. I thought it would be kind of topical, obviously, for us to discuss. Hopefully, we can get this out in time for you guys, and then get an E3 episode actually out too. But how about you, Joe? Start off with Ubisoft, what they got going on.
Well, before I even get into Ubisoft, I do want to talk about the Battlefield 6 announcement that we have coming up and see if we have any theories about what it can be, or what we're looking forward to. I don't know how big you guys are into the shooters, Brad. I know you're not much of a
Yep, it's between you
FPS
two.
player. But
I like me some shooters. I got away from them for a little while, but this last year I've really come back with a fiery passion.
have you ever been big into the Battlefield series?
Oh yeah. Whenever I had a console, before I switched to the PC Master Race, like, yeah, I played a whole bunch of Battlefield. My favorite memories are probably BF2. I was pretty heckin' good helicopter pilot. I was one of those goofballs.
Oh, one of those guys.
Yeah.
The rumors, well, it's confirmed they're making the announcement on June 9th of the release date and the new game, but rumors are leading towards like a semi-futuristic, like World War III-esque look at the game, which is closer to the BF4 that was so well received compared to the other two that have come out since then.
Mm-hmm.
But that's I'm sorry, good.
The future shooters are a hard one to sell to the video gaming community. I don't know. It's just like you either go way far into the future, or just slightly into the future, and like they either hit or miss. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I just want to see them go back to the Battlefield 4 era and just stick with what they nailed it with.
Yeah. And yeah, just do what they do best. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We all know what kind of game you are, you know. And
I just want them to beat Call of Duty.
yes.
I just want to see Call of Duty get taken down a notch once.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I'm looking forward to, which I guess it's kind of technically part of E3. I don't know, but literally tomorrow is the Warhammer Skulls showcase. It's just I think it's gonna be Warhammer specific entertainment that they're showcasing. They've got this whole thing where they're gonna have like a whole like website where you go to like watch Warhammer content and like all kinds of stuff. They're trying to make some moves. I hope it does them good. They do some strange decisions as far as like the Warhammer world goes. I'm a big Space Marines fan, the 40K stuff, so I look forward to seeing some good stuff come out of that. One of the games that's coming out soon, I think the 15th, is Warhammer Battle Sector, which is looking so good. It's basically like the tabletop game in the virtual world, and Warhammer fans will be like, yeah, they make those all the time, but this one actually looks good. Like 1 out of every 10 Warhammer games is actually decent, and I think this one might be, the one coming up. So we'll see. We'll see.
That's bad news for the 9 after it.
Yeah, especially since they're trying to release like multiple Warhammer games right now. Like, which one's gonna be the good one?
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of you for tomorrow, just a little bit, and then we'll actually get into the E3 stuff. But Hearthstone, a little mini set coming out tomorrow on the birthday.
Oh, is that tomorrow?
Wow. Yeah, they're doing it for me.
They're doing it for Brad.
Specifically, they called me up and they were like, "Hey, you want a mini set on your birthday?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, why not?"
Yeah.
So
they're
doing that
for the ignorant ones of us. Can you briefly explain what a mini set is for Hearthstone?
So essentially, all it is they're trying to retain people to stay playing the game because throughout the past, since the beginning of the game, viewership and players will spike the first like 3 weeks of a set, and then it just plummets to almost nothing because everybody finds out the decks that are meta and everybody knows what the best cards are, and you run into Paladin 75% of the time, and then you want to throw your computer down the road. But so what they're trying to do to alleviate that is to kind of shake it up. So there's 3 expansions a year. And what they're going to do is, in between each expansion, they want to release a mini set, which is just 35 cards. To kind of try to hopefully, throw people off a little bit. So,
Yeah, mix it
like
up,
right
mix
now,
up the meta.
yeah, Paladin right now is just dominating. So their thought is, maybe if they release this, it could change things up, make them a little bit worse, make other classes better. They also are doing a lot better with patches. So they patch the game pretty often and are not afraid to nerf cards, where way back when they wouldn't touch anything. And then for Joseph over here, got a
Mhm.
little battlegrounds, just a small, slight little battlegrounds update. So we might mess around with that at some point here. I'm sure we will for like one day, and then we won't touch
Give
it for another
me
month.
one run with each hero, and I'm done.
Yep.
Yeah, even I mess around with Battlegrounds a little bit. And if you're out there and you've got a friend that wants you to play Hearthstone with them, just go play some Battlegrounds. It's an easy way to get into it, and it's actually pretty fun.
For sure. It's like TFT. Just it's like the smooth brain TFT.
Smooth braid.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So that's the reason why I can deal with it. Anyways. All right. So let's do E3. Now, Joe, how about a little Ubisoft for yourself?
So the main thing, since we already got like Far Cry 6 reveal and all of that fun stuff, the main thing I'm really looking forward to is some more information on Rainbow Six with Parasite. It was originally released to be Rainbow Six Quarantine, but obviously with current world events, they deemed that naming was not the best way to go. So they switched it to Parasite. But from my understanding, it's a 3-person team PvE Rainbow Six against like Outbreak. So semi horror. It seems like they had a little bit of survival aspects into it, but I don't know too much because I haven't looked into it too much. But they did have the Rainbow Six Siege mode that came out. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before during Halloween. That seemed like was leading into this game, but it does look quite entertaining.
Maybe like a little secret beta test of, oh, does the community accept this? Whoa.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
sounds super interesting. I hope they do well with it. I like some PVE shooters. Just me and the bros, possibly. Brad, Joe. Get a
Not
little-
Brad with his horror. There's gonna
I
be some type of infected.
I was gonna say, you sparked my interest because I would normally just be like Rainbow Six. All right, well, I'll wait until the next thing comes along. But you're in a little horror aspect now. You got my interest, so I'll definitely keep my eye out on it. I'll. Have they said anything about Assassin's Creed though? Actually,
Uh,
anything about it?
Not particularly a new one, just like new mainline game, but they did say something about a VR. I don't know if it's gonna be a port or its own standalone,
Hmm.
but that's something we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and Far Cry 6, I'm sure it'll have some little presence just because it's coming out so soon. But that's I feel like everything that's coming super soon is like bottom totem pole. Everybody's like, well, we already know it. We're gonna have that soon enough. I don't care about that. Give me the new stuff.
Yeah.
But next up, actually, I'm gonna talk about Xbox and Bethesda because I actually would say this might be the most exciting one, depending on who you ask, just because of the potential that we have here. As it's the first time Xbox I feel has something to back themselves up. Like there's a chance for exclusivity, and usually that's the biggest thing with Xbox is you can't they just can't compete because PlayStation has such great exclusives. But there's talks about Fable 4, Starfield, obviously, which that's the big Bethesda game that is supposed to be coming soon. Halo Infinite. My question is, are they going to talk at all about Ghostwire Tokyo, as that is still a PlayStation exclusive, and it's a Xbox studio. Obviously, Xbox bought Bethesda, so this Xbox studio, are they going to be showing a PlayStation game on E3 during their showcase? That'd be interesting.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And,
almost
may-
like, does Xbox like still? I know it's still Bethesda, but you know, mama company Xbox, do they still like hold true? Like like integrity and like still produce a good game, or did they just like tank the game so PlayStation doesn't have this good game?
Yeah, I think personally, I see it as a point for Xbox to like reach out a hand and be like a good sport about it, and ideally bring Sony more into the realm of like, uh, what is the word I'm looking for? Crossplay. Open up
Yeah,
more
yeah.
links for crossplay, form a better relationship. Hopefully, they don't just tank the game because that just doesn't look good for anyone, in my opinion, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not the consumer's fault. Or do as a Xbox and PlayStation owner, I'd be upset regardless as a fanboy if one company made a game bad intentionally for the other
Mm-hmm.
just to spite the user.
Yeah.
So, two things that we can look at though, like from past performances here. One, Minecraft and Minecraft Dungeons are on PlayStation, and they're Microsoft Studio games. So, I don't believe they've done anything like where it's like, oh, on Xbox you have the better version. I think all of the versions are the same across the board.
Yeah.
So that's at least one positive thing for us. And two, I think kind of like what Joe was saying, they also want to do have like this pretty positive feel for PlayStation because they want to put Game Pass on PlayStation. That is, I think, a huge
Oh
thing
man,
for them.
oh man, that would be the day. Whenever they put the Game Pass on PlayStation, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, I don't see that one happening with
Yeah.
the PlayStation Now.
No, I don't think it's gonna happen, but I know they want it to happen.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
And I was being pessimistic about the game. Like obviously if they produce a good game, they're still going to profit from that. Like even if it's just PlayStation exclusive, Xbox is still profiting from a good game. So they'll probably produce a good game and
yeah,
a
I
couple
mean
years
the
it'll be everywhere.
pretty sure it's being directed by the dude that made Resident Evil. I can't remember his name exactly. Shinji I can't remember how to say his name or whatever. But the dude who originally made Resident Evil, I'm pretty sure is the guy that's directing Ghostwire Tokyo also. And but the last game, we'll have Bravo talk about it for Bethesda
Oh
because
man,
it's
Elder Scrolls 6. Like I just hope they give us another like 3-second trailer.
The other side of the mountain.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. The other side of the mountain. And then the nerds out there will pick the video apart and be like, "Oh, on this frame, they showed this, which is this part of this region," and and they'll have like the whole game mapped out before it even releases. And I'm throwing shade, but I like the Elder Scrolls games. I like ESO. It's pretty good. Uh, I enjoy MMOs from a distance and play them a little bit. I can't do like the 70 hours a week uh, doing raids and stuff. But I do enjoy a good story. Anyways, that's a podcast for the future. That's future Bravo's problem.
yeah.
Moving on, we got Nintendo next, and I think Brad should spearhead that one because he is
I'm such a big fan of Nintendo. You know
big
me,
Nintendo fan.
Real
huge
passionate.
Love it. Yeah, I sold my Switch literally yesterday because it was a paperweight for an entire year, and I'm
Yeah.
like, why do I have this thing? Might as well make some money off it. Not that I don't think the Switch is a good console. Like, I don't think it's a bad console. It's just it's not for me. Um, so I think the biggest probably rumor out of the entire thing, and I have a feeling it's probably true because there's markings coming up on like different I don't know, different retailers. So the Switch Pro rumors basically. I don't know what you guys think anything about that. I'm guessing it's basically just going to be kind of like that middle ground step that we saw last generation with the Xbox and PlayStation 4, where it's going to be a middle ground. And price wise, I don't know what they're going to do. because I feel like if you get too far past $300, you're kind of starting to step into, well, you might as well just buy a PS5. And I don't know. Not that graphics and stuff is everything, but obviously we know that there's no way a Switch Pro is going to be even remotely close to a PS5.
Yeah. Now let me be contrarian to that.
Yeah.
Just going off the name alone, Switch Pro, like I could see them because they've already made like the slim version. They go
Yep.
Switch Pro and they beef up the battery life. They beef up the like I don't know screen size or something, and they sell it for like $400.
And you're holding a stone tablet.
Yeah,
because it's so thick.
I think plenty of people out there would enjoy that. They would still purchase that and enjoy it, and just have a little bit more better performance, a little bit bigger screen because the kids love the big screens, and you sell a bunch of them.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think the only thing is, I don't know how the Switch market is, and like
Nobody
I don't
does.
know if
It's
I don't know if
provocative.
majority of people are handheld, like using it handheld, or if they're using it as a home console, whatnot. Um, yeah, I don't know.
All of my friends play the Pro at home, and they lay on their couch in the most lackadaisical, like arrangements, with like their one hand behind the couch and the other hand at the floor, and they just like play Zelda like half asleep.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then there's like 1 out of every 10 of the guys that has like the Pro controller, and they're leaned up and they got their hat backwards, and they're just bam playing.
I think the main thing with the Switch Pro is like, even looking at the PlayStation and the new Xbox Series X and S, like the Switch being a few years old, it's still really hard to get your hands on like a basic Switch console. If you want a Switch Lite, I mean, it's really not that difficult, but working at Best Buy and seeing it, like, especially through, the whole world situation, um, the basic Switch with the ability to dock it has been near impossible to get. There's like 3 times in the past year and a half that we've even been able to order them.
Wow.
Hmm.
I wonder how much of that is, and maybe you can shine some light on this, but I wonder how much of that is the chip shortage. Uh,
I'm not 100% sure, and I don't think realistically anybody but the chip manufacturers know the
yeah.
honest answer to that.
Well, yeah, but I think even chip shortage aside, I think there's still a pretty good market for the Switches. Uh, I don't want to get too much into it, but my younger brother was hospitalized and he couldn't like do a whole lot of movement. So I bought him a Switch, and it was the last one on the shelf at Best Buy in his local town. And like it was the middle of the pandemic, so people are just scooping those things up.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, yeah, it's a
Um, we'll quickly run through, I guess, the games that possibly could come up and stuff we are pretty sure is going to.
mm,
So, Metroid Prime 4, I doubt we're going to hear anything about that, even though it's been,
4 years since announced.
yeah.
4
Well,
years.
I mean, when did the last Metroid Prime come out? It was like probably 13 years ago.
I don't even know, but they released the teaser for Metroid Prime 4 at E3 2017.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I do know though, just from listening to another podcast talking about it, that they had to scrap everything and restart with a new studio. So, so it's going well over there. Breath of the Wild 2, I mean,
Yes.
who
No.
knows if they'll say anything or not. I honestly was blown away that they didn't even really mention anything other than we have nothing to tell you right now at the Zelda 30th. Was it 30 or
25.
That
I
was
don't know.
25.
25? I don't remember what the hell it
It
was.
might be 30. I don't remember the exact number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that
Whatever
though.
year
It
it
was a very disappointing just like stream in general. Like they didn't really announce a whole lot of crazy stuff.
What wasn't it Skyward Sword that they
Yeah,
announced with it?
HD remaster of it.
Yeah. Here, we'll give you a motion gameplay Zelda
Mhm.
that probably most people wouldn't want.
I haven't played it, so I'm still relatively excited for it. but I just want Ocarina on my Switch.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, where are the
We're
I
all
feel like
just
we're gonna get into this
flabbergasted. Why have you not done that, Nintendo? It's like the best Zelda
crazy.
ever. Just remaster it. Put some new skins on there. Give Link some new pants and ship it out. Just give it to
Yeah.
everybody. Don't you dare put a motorcycle in that game either.
I feel
I'll
like we're gonna
cry.
end up in a tangent with this stuff, but
Why?
why don't they end up just do a virtual console with like what they had on the 3DS or the Wii? Do the Wii U. I mean, the Wii U had N64 games you could buy for like $15, I think.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Everybody would buy it. I mean,
I've
you could
bought-
literally charge. You could charge everybody the same thing. I mean, I've bought Mario on every console you can imagine from the Nintendo for $5, and I'm still doing it for no reason. I don't
I-
even play the damn game.
I own at least 8 copies of Ocarina, and I will be the first one to buy a 9th.
But all right, I feel like we're getting long here for
Yeah,
the
let's
E3
keep
stuff.
it moving.
Let's keep moving here. All right. So obviously, there's hopes of a Mario game. I mean, Odyssey was great, so I'd hope to see something. I don't know if it'd be 2D or 3D, but either of them are like,
Paper.
then
We already got paper too.
yeah.
Unfortunately, we
got-
got paper.
Donkey Kong, hopefully something with that. The Pokemon games, if you're into it, Diamond and Pearl remakes, and there's the other one that's going to be in 2022 later on, and maybe they'll announce something, a new Pokemon game, kind of like after Sword and Shield, so Gen 9 or something.
I would like to see more of the Pokemon MOBA.
Yeah. I was about
If
to
we
mention
get
that.
some
yeah.
of that at E3, that would be really interesting.
Yeah,
Definitely,
Joe and
yeah.
I are are MOBA players, and it just seems like an interesting game. Like the way that they capture towers by standing in them instead of like doing the whole like fighting under towers and stuff. It's just a cool little concept. You know, your favorite Pokemon, you can level them up and evolve throughout the level. Like it's good. Like it's just good.
I'll be honest, I had no idea that was even a thing.
Yeah.
And I will definitely play it.
So does the rest of the world. They're just not they're just not talking about
Yeah.
it.
Got the hot takes on the Vision Gaming Podcast here. All right, let's move on, and we'll have Joe take this one because he's the only person to talk about this, anyways.
Bandai Namco, Elden Ring. Give me more. Anything more than the 5 seconds of the lady putting on her arm or her armor, whatever we got to see. Just even talk to me about it. Like, give me some ASMR in the ears about this game.
I hope they just walk up black stage and they're just like Elden Ring, it's coming, and they just walk
They
off.
Or they walk up on stage and like some little dude, some little guy is up there, doesn't say anything. Kind of like the I don't know if you know this. It's a throwback to the Dreamcast days. I think it was Dreamcast. No, it was PlayStation 1. I lied. PlayStation 1 came on stage and they just go $2.99 and they walked off. That's all they did. That's I want to see Bandai Namco do that. But they're
What was
just
that
like,
in reference to?
the price of the PlayStation, the original PlayStation.
Oh,
So I think the N64 was gonna be, it was something like that. It was either like the Sega Saturn or one of the consoles, the competitors basically. They had it at $3.99, and PlayStation went up and they just said $2.99 and walked off. Didn't say anything else. Mic drop, everything.
Power
I
move.
could see Bandai Namco being like, "This is the date," and they walk off.
That's all I need.
Don't
That's-
even show a trailer, nothing.
You could just give me a year and I'll be happy.
Just be careful with that, because if you say too far out, your soul's gonna be crushed.
No, it's fine. I'll wait. I just need to know when.
All right. So I'll talk about Capcom because Capcom's probably my favorite developer. So we obviously just had Resident Evil Village, and pretty good game, I would say, overall. I think Joe and I both would say definitely a thumbs up for overall.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe we'll hear about a little DLC. I would like that. Then RE Versus, I feel like, is a no-brainer because that got pushed off into probably this month, next month, maybe.
they said August, but I could be wrong.
I thought I remember just hearing summer, so my brain's like June, July when I think of
Yeah.
summer. Then Monster Hunter Stories 2, which if you're into Monster Hunter, that's all for you. I haven't touched those games myself. Obviously a big following. Maybe Resident Evil 4 VR, as we did see that looks phenomenal.
It makes me want to buy an Oculus.
I don't blame you because it looks so fun, but I know that that's pretty far off. Thankfully, I have an Oculus Quest 2 and my girlfriend's fiance, whatever. Same difference. Still getting used to that part. Gonna get yelled at now. Don't show her this episode. And then Pragmata, which I literally just watched this trailer right before we started recording here, and it looks pretty cool. It's got Biggles in it, the hologram Bigglesworth in it.
Which exclusive, if I'm correct on that. But it does look fairly interesting. Very different from what we're used to seeing in Capcom games.
So
me.
what is it?
It kind of gives me a feel of, and correct me if I'm wrong, gives me like a Dead Space feel.
Kind of. It's listed as like an adventure game. It's futuristic.
Yeah.
So just looking it up, it does say it's not even for the Switch. Windows, PS5, Xbox Series X, and S.
Whoa, you're liars.
Well, yeah, it looks good. That's all I'm gonna say.
The screen caps from it's like, oh, this is like cyberpunk pictures. It's great.
All right, Bravo, you want to take one, or you want to pass it to Joe?
Sure.
You want to take EA?
Yeah, EA. You got Dragon Age 4, Mass Effect 5, and Sims 5. We're all hoping for some kind of information on them. Mass Effect for me, I'm gonna get a lot of hate mail for this, but I'm not a big Mass Effect fan. It just the way that my life rolled out, Mass Effect seems like a generic version of other games. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna hate you for liking them, but that's just it. And then Sims 5 is just, who doesn't want to be God?
I've never played Mass Effect games, and I haven't picked up the trilogy yet, but I plan to, and to get through them. But I can't add 3 more games into my backlog at the moment.
Dear Lord, Joe, right now you're gonna have to start, an OnlyFans or something like that with this backlog.
Pay me money and I will play games.
You need to be home as much as possible. Jeez, but yeah, Mass Effect. Obviously that's something huge for people. I kind of similarly, we're clearly not the podcast to listen to if you're a big Mass Effect fan, because none of us have played it really.
Get out.
I played the slightest bit of the first game, and it was, I guess, kind of interesting, but I got to whatever the vehicle was. I can't remember, the Mako, I think it's called.
Don't you spoil anything.
No, it's just literally the name of the
Joe,
vehicle,
I'm gonna spoil
Mako.
it. They've got vehicles, okay? I need you to
There's a vehicle,
absorb
and
that.
Stop it.
I've heard that they fixed the controls, so Legendary Edition is the way to go. And Dragon Age, I honestly, I played a little bit of Origins back on the PS3 actually, and I don't know why I stopped. Probably just like anything else, I got problems clearly, and I always would like to get back to Dragon Age because I feel like it would be something fun as an RPG, but I just don't have the time. I feel like those games are pretty deep.
Yeah.
And Sims 5 is, casual. So
I like the concept of Dragon Age, and I played Inquisition and was told that it was probably the worst of the group.
Mm-hmm.
So I got about 10 minutes into Dragon Age 3 and liked it more. But in general, I don't like the concept of having to control like multiple characters and like their inventory in games. So those games I tend to stray away from, which is what got me out of Inquisition really quickly. But I'd be interested in looking to see what Dragon Age 4 has for, because I'm a huge fantasy nerd. So s- something to look forward to.
Yeah, and I don't think there's much else from EA. Possibly, I guess, in their Battlefront, maybe
Hope
down the
they
line.
release another sports game.
Yeah,
I need more of those sports games.
they'll. There's probably going to be a 20-minute segment on like FIFA or some shit.
Monetize me more, please, EA.
All right. All right. I think the final one's gonna be Square Enix. Joe, how about you finish us out here? That.
Yeah. So first and foremost, one of the more hyped games of the year, not counting Cyberpunk, was Outriders that came out, and all in all, a good game. Bravo and I put in a lot of hours, like really quickly into that game.
Yeah.
And then we got to the end game and we were just like, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
So I would love to see either like some ideally free DLC updated, but realistically, I wouldn't even be opposed to giving them like money towards a paid DLC if it added a real end game to it. Something like we've had this issue with Destiny when it first came out, and give me like a raid or something. It doesn't have to be super exquisite or like a 10-hour process, but something that you could sit down with a group, play for an hour, get off. You could maybe beat it, maybe need to play for another hour, but keep progress, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Give me something, Outriders. Once you fix your game, because Lord, it had problems.
Yep.
I think I heard they patched it though, didn't they? Or fixed some
A
of it?
few times, but they're still having some issues. Like it's not the inventory wipe is apparently fixed, and they gave everyone back what they lost, at least to the best they could.
Hmm.
And they did like some server maintenance, so connectivity is better, but they're having an issue where like a enemy could so enemy hits you, they do 10 damage. But for whatever reason, the armor like mitigations and whatnot aren't applying correctly. So an enemy that could hit you for 10 damage just insta kills you.
Cool.
Sounds like Diablo 2. There was a scorpion type creature. It's like, and it was bugged like crazy in hell mode, and it would just charge into you and basically insta kill you.
Yep.
In certain areas. So
Yeah.
yeah, it makes it a little more exciting though.
My opinion on Outriders is summed up as such. The story is amazing. I really liked this like brand new IP, crazy cool world. I wish I could see more monsters in it. And then the in-game content quickly scaled up beyond what I was willing to play. But if they just balanced it a little bit more and provided us some DLC on the regular, I would wholeheartedly go back to the game and like play it with my friends for another 15 20 hours easy, just like getting through the DLC and like playing a little bit more of in-game content, because the new story isn't going to be enough and you gotta get your fix. So that's what they should be going for, to like monetize our time to go back and play it, and they come back just as people start dipping away from the game. So hang in there, Outriders.
One other thing we are hoping to hear more of from Square Enix, a Final Fantasy Souls-like game. I, for one, have never really played a Final Fantasy game outside of a few minutes of like the original 7 and a few minutes into 15. But if they're gonna make it a Souls like, it's supposed to be PS5 exclusive from the rumors, and
Boo.
we don't have a release date. But make it a Souls like, and I am very interested.
Yeah, sounds like me too. I'm always interested in Souls like games. They're fun.
Yep,
Simple as that.
we all resonate with it right there. But I will probably wait for Joe's review of that particular game before I go out and buy a PS5 or borrow somebody's to play that game.
I'm thinking too, kind of going off of the Final Fantasy thing. They'll probably talk more about Final Fantasy 16 because I think they actually announced it not that long ago. So I'm sure there'll be something else.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I don't think that any of us are really huge Final Fantasy guys. I played, like Joe said, he hasn't played much. I played 7 and 9 when I was a kid, but I barely remember them. I just remember I liked them a decent amount, but I don't think I knew what I was doing.
Yeah, I've never touched a Final Fantasy game. I barely even watched any video over it, to be honest.
Alright.
Yeah, just
Uh,
never really got my attention.
Yeah.
There's 2 more games that I'm hoping to see a little bit more of with E3 as well. It's Kena Bridge of Spirits.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I think that game looks phenomenal visually. It looks like a Disney or a Pixar animated movie that's just a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And if
And I
anybody's
believe it's go
yeah,
ahead.
anybody's curious out there, it's just a game where you build bridges. That's all you do. Like the civil engineering behind it, the logistics behind it. It's just a crazy little Disney game
With a fox. That's it.
with a fox.
But realistically, it kind of gives me like a Pikmin vibe with like the little spirits that are in the game. Looks really good. I believe it's coming to only PS5 and then eventually PC, but I could be wrong on that.
I
And then
think I heard that too.
the other
Damn you,
game that
PlayStation.
I would like to see a tiny bit more of would be Humankind, the 4X strategy game coming out from Amplitude. I know Sega delayed them till August, which isn't too far off. And, there's plenty of YouTube content of the game already, but maybe like a big official update that, they're making a big change or something would be pretty cool.
I don't know if Activision is gonna be in E3 or not.
I'm
Was
not
that in the list?
sure.
But
I
if
didn't
they
see
were,
it.
I just want to see any bit more of Diablo 2 remastered or resurrected, whatever the hell it's called. I can't remember.
Dude, that
I'm,
is that's so much better of a name than remastered. Diablo
it is.
2 Resurrected.
I'm like 99% sure it's resurrected, but
Yeah, it
Dude.
is.
that's what I.
That's
That
awesome.
would be it. I'd like to see a little bit more of it, or just give us an actual date. It's supposed to be this year, so.
Yeah.
But I think that's honestly all. And now, even though we've gone extremely long, way over what we
we all
expected.
had a lot of opinion about E3.
Yeah, yeah. I was. That's kind of why I said at first, I'm like, I bet you we can probably get into this. We can get into this pretty deep. The funny,
hand to the heart, I'm surprised I have an opinion on so many things. Look
yeah,
at me.
yeah. Sad thing is, all right. Before we get into our main topic, we were supposed to do the games that are releasing this month. Do we want to skip that, or do we want to actually talk about it real quick?
Oh no,
Real quick.
All right,
oh.
real quick. All right, bravo. Let's hear.
Well, I already talked about Battle Sector. I guess I did that kind of out of order, but that's Warhammer 40K Battle Sector. It's a Warhammer game, and you control your units. I believe the Blood Angels units are the ones that you play with. Yeah, it, I want to wait because with the Warhammer games, like I said previously, you really gotta look at them with a grain of salt because 1 out of every 10 is actually good. So yeah, I don't want to beat that dead horse. That's all I got to say.
Brad, do you
So,
want to?
yeah, sure. I'm gonna just run through it real quickly because honestly, I don't have too many. I was kind of pulling at straws. There's not many games that I'm super excited about, but I would say the main one is the new Dark Alliance game. As I actually was a pretty big fan of the original Dark Alliance games on the PlayStation 2. So I rented actually at a local video place the original Dark Alliance. So that was like kind of a cool memory. And it's like Diablo esque, the old ones. This one looks a little more modern actiony. And then the other game would just be Guilty Gear Strive, but that's not to play. It's literally just to watch. I enjoy watching fighting games. I am not the greatest at them, but I've always been a big fan. And I'll talk about a little bit more of fighting games as a kid in the main topic of the show. Yeah, so we'll finish it off with Joe, obviously.
Yeah, the 2 big games I'm really looking forward to are Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart. They it's been a selling point of the PlayStation 5, and we're finally gonna get hands-on with it. And I just think it looks incredible, and the way you're teleporting between different worlds through the time rift, it looks really cool and fast, and I just want to see it in action. And then Mario Golf, just a family fun game. It just looks satisfying. You're Mario characters and you play golf. There's not much more to it.
Is that
I
specifically
still,
for the Switch? I'm guessing.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
If I
that's
still had a Switch,
dang
I
it,
would probably pick it up. Not gonna buy another one now. No.
Joe. I'm coming over.
It does look really good. The Mario Golf games have always been good, but for me, it's just not something that's gonna sell me like to keep that thing around. So,
Do you guys
um,
think that it's going to be online play?
yep,
Yes. I
yeah.
believe
So
they said it was.
Well, I'll
it
see you
has
on the
like a
court, Joe.
cool. I think it has a cool little party-ish mode where you're like run to the ball instead of
Yeah.
Oh
and you have
God.
like different powers. You could be Waluigi because everybody wants to be Waluigi.
I just want a blue shell
Yeah,
in
blue shell
Mario
baby.
Golf.
you
Blue shell.
run into your ball, you get blue shell.
Whoever's in first place gets instantly plus 10 points.
Oh man, that's
All right,
hilarious.
before we run too long, let's actually get to the heart of the show. So, the main so the main part of the show, I personally myself am intrigued with everyone's story, what makes them who they are, and obviously being a podcast centered around video games, I'm fascinated with how each of us got into this hobby. So, let's go around the table and share two of our stories from our childhood. So, we'll start off with Bravo. What is your first story you want to share?
Oh, well, we have to go back in time quite a ways to the beginning of Bravo, where I never remember actually acquiring the console, so it must have been something that my dad just had. But the Super Nintendo, and then my parents are split, and my mom had the regular Nintendo, and we had a handful of games, but Mario All Stars, Pole Position, um, were my two mains. I really liked All Stars for some reason, and then Pole Position between me and my older brother, because my younger siblings are quite a bit younger than me. So me and my older brother, we would play that thing. We really didn't know what we were doing in Pole Position, but we knew we could pass people, and that's a lot of fun, especially as a child. And then uh, yeah, I'm drawing a blank actually. Uh, but just the memories playing those games really uh, just kind of sparked something in me. Like I've always had a passion for video games. Like it's always been there. It was the consoles were always there, no matter which house I was at. Uh, as I got older, I just had to have like the fresh console that was coming out or whatever it was. Like they've always been there, and I'm sure my parents were happy that I was content sitting in front of a TV being somewhat quiet, I'd say. But yeah, Joe, what about you?
So going back to the start of Joe, before we even had the clownish part, uh, so when I was born, my cousin, who was 8 years old, was living with us at the time, and both him and my father were big into video games. Um, both playing from when they were born forward. My dad growing up with the arcades and the Atari, all that fun stuff. But whenever I was born in '96, a little bit younger than these guys. The N64 was like the first console I physically remember playing, and it was between Ocarina of Time and Super Mario 64. Like as a young child, my parents would literally sit me down, hand me a 64 controller, and put on Mario 64 to like the main menu where you could just like grab Mario's ears and pull them, and I would just put myself to sleep playing that game. Just the easy way out for my parents, just drop me in front of the TV and let Mario do the parenting. But outside of that, um, playing a little bit on the PC as a child, playing Command and Conquer Red Alert, um, obviously not very good, being that I was like 4 years old at most, playing this, falling asleep halfway through a game with my head flat on the keyboard. And the PlayStation 1 between Spyro and Croc, playing those with my mom as a kid. But outside of that, that's pretty much the earliest memories I have outside of just like being a spectator.
So
Brad?
for mine, I'm gonna do it because I had two consoles, kind of similar to Bravo, where he had the NES and SNES. So, and I don't know why we jumped from Nintendo to Sega, but we had an NES and a Sega Genesis. And I'm gonna talk about the NES first. So, first off, we originally had a typical front loader like the that everybody had. But then it broke at some point, so my grandfather had to go out and buy a new one. He found it at a garage sale, the top loader, and that thing is awesome because it actually works all the time compared to the other console. But mainly the main stuff that comes to my head is just constantly playing like all the Mario games. Mega Man 6, I don't know how we got only Mega Man 6 out of all of them because that was I think it was a pretty low print run game compared to it because it was so late in the Nintendo cycle. It came out in like 1994, I believe. Um, then obviously Duck Hunt, and I used to cheat all the time, and I'd put the gun as close to the screen as possible. And probably every kid did that though. Kirby's Adventure, Star Tropics, Yoshi, Mach Rider. Those are just some games to name. I'm sure I had some other stuff that I can't think off the top of my head, but uh, the original Nintendo was, I would say, the lesser between the two, so it's kind of why I put it as my number two story. But we'll go back to Bravo for his last one.
Oh well, uh, more fond memories I have were uh, getting a Nintendo 64. I cannot remember who actually bought it for us. I think it was, I think it was my mom's boyfriend at the time. So thank you, sir. But playing Rush 2 with my brothers and like racing around the track, and this was before you had to use the brake button. Okay, whenever you took corners, you just rode the edge. There was none of this like racing line. What's the wear on my tires stuff? Like you just held the A button and you went, and that's how racing should be. Okay.
Was that on the N64 actually? Because I've never even heard of it.
Rush?
Yeah, was it like San Francisco Rush, something like that?
No, it's Rush 2. I remember the picture on the card or the cartridge was like two cars bursting out of the thing. There's some text underneath it. I
Gotcha.
don't remember what it is, but it's just Rush 2.
Rush to Extreme Racing USA.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, that's
gotcha.
probably what it was. But so I could talk about this for a while, but there were specific cars that you could unlock by doing different things and like ramping up in like secret passageways and like getting cars. And my favorite car was like the Rat Rod, and like you had to do certain things. You could do like flips and stuff. It's just a great game. It's a great little game. We played the literal crap out of it. And then and then the only other game that I truly remember aside from like what was the official name of the Mario the Mario open world game?
Mario 64?
Yeah, Mario 64. Yeah, that one.
Oh, okay.
We got that kind of late, but we did play that quite a bit. But Glover, I played Glover. Okay, it's not the best game in the world. It was like a little puzzle platformer type game, but it was the the era of 64 games where like even Mario 64 kind of had the problem where you'd be like walking across a beam and halfway through the beam the camera angle would change and you'd have to like move your stick while you were moving and it's garbage, but we didn't know any better. so we played it. But Glover is a really weird game. basically you're the glove of a wizard, and the wizard gets taken out somehow, and you've got all this pent up magical power that makes you sentient, and you got to go save the world. And don't ever play it, please. But it's one of my fondest memories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna say a hot take. Hot take is N64 era best racing games.
yes, yes. I actually want to go back and play Rush somehow. That would be a lot of fun. Get my older brother on it as well. But Joe, take it away from me, please.
All right. So, being a little younger, I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about my road up until now with video games. So after the N64 PS1 era, got my hands on a GameCube for a birthday or something along those lines. Uh, Games like Luigi's Mansion and what was it? Wave Race they released for the GameCube as well. After that, moved on to an Xbox, the original Xbox with the big old Duke controller. Uh, Obviously played Halo and all of that fun stuff growing up. Moved on to the 360, which is what I consider the golden age of gaming, and spending countless nights and hours playing Modern Warfare 2 or Halo 3, just custom games on Halo 3 alone. I probably put more hours into than most games I've ever touched. But after that, picked up the PS3 for games like the God of War series, the Uncharted, played some Resistance. From the PS3 360 era, I decided to switch from the mainly 360 to a PS4 first. Played that when I was in college, mostly sports games, just due to the crowd I had around me, and we were all into sports games. Then after my short stint of college, realized all my friends had an Xbox, so I ended up picking up an Xbox One. And then after realizing that I keep spending all this money buying all these different consoles, I decided to just build a PC. And that way I could just upgrade parts as opposed to having to constantly spend $600 on a new system. Obviously, before graphics cards jumped up to $3,000 a piece, or as the 3080 Ti coming out is 1,200 retail. And then just recently got the PlayStation 5 on release, and it's crazy to think of how far games have come just in my lifetime.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Joe, you did a much better job of summarizing your life than me. I didn't even make it into my teen years.
I mean I'm literally just doing I'm talking bare bones. Probably up till I was like 8 years old. Because my thought, well, I guess we all have our own different ways going about it, but I would love to talk about. Well, I'll be here till freaking 4 in the morning if I'm talking about everything else.
Yeah, I tried to skim real quick.
Yeah,
I feel like I
It's-
know
it's
Joe
tough.
way better now.
Yeah.
I could answer some questionnaires about him.
It's tough because like you wanna skim through some stuff, but at the same time you wanna give some detail. I don't know. It's like tough balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for just going a little bit off what Joe said, it is insane. 'Cause I remember PS2. I had like a football game. I think it was NFL 2K3, and I pulled my dad over, and I'm like, "You have to look at this. It's like we're watching TV. They're real. They're actually on the like guy. You don't even watch anything."
Funny story, like same situation. Me and my dad were playing one of the old NHL games, probably around 2K3, somewhere in that ballpark. And like my mom walked through the room and she goes, "Oh, I didn't know the Penguins were playing today." And like just
It's
looking at the game now, it's like there's no way that should ever be taken as like a
it's insane.
Dude, I go back and play some of the old Nintendo games, and I'm like, where does the character end and the environment begin? Like, my eyes are so accustomed to high quality graphics now. I'm like, what is this? Yet another reason why you should never play Glover.
Yeah, that's the rough era, the PS1
Yes.
N64 era. Like,
Mm-hmm.
usually that's just nostalgia if you really are loving that stuff. But
Yeah.
That's me.
oh yeah, for sure. Anyways, I'll get on my last one here so we can wrap this bad boy up. So the last thing I kind of hinted at from before, it's mainly Sega Genesis, so that was kind of my main console. Um, we had it before I actually knew though. Like I don't have any recollection of us actually buying it, so there's a chance that my sister got it like before I was born or right when I was
There's a
born.
chance you're thieves as well. Like you just straight up stole it. It's
Yeah, probably would make more sense. But so Sega Genesis, I don't even know how we acquired so many games. We had like this bin of games, and I don't even remember all of them. But Sonic the Hedgehog obviously was the big game. Had all of them, including like there's a 3D game, which is kind of crazy for Sega Genesis wise. And then there was even a pinball Sonic game, which was weird. But Sonic 2 is the main one. My sister and I played the crap out of it. And then realistically, kind of going off of like the Guilty Gear Strive, what I was saying before, I was actually probably the biggest fan of fighting games ever as a kid. Like would go to the arcades and would whoop on grown adults in Tekken. So
and then they'd
that
beat you up
was
in real life.
yeah, pretty much. But Mortal Kombat 2 was the main thing for me. So I loved Mortal Kombat, getting the fatalities, anything basically going. So Virtua Fighter 2 also was something I enjoyed, and kind of going along with that, Virtua Fighter 5 just was a free game for PlayStation Plus. Obviously, Street Fighter 2 is a huge fighting game. Then, kind of to top it off, we have Vector Man, which you're literally just a bunch of balls. It's weird. Um,
Okay.
Tinhead, which I don't think anybody, I don't think anybody has heard of Tinhead. Then there's Rocket Knight's Adventure, which I would definitely recommend. Try to look out for that game. I think it was actually released on Xbox Live Arcade at some point, so there's a chance that there's a way to play it today. Uh, then the last two are just Streets of Rage and Golden Axe. So they're both obviously, uh, the beat 'em up kind of games. Those have died, I would say, for the most part, but they're trying to bring it back. They had Streets of Rage 4 come out. So, yeah. Um, but I think that's it. We need to wrap this up because obviously been going on for long enough. But we want to hear about you all, how all of you started gaming as well. So, if you want to leave a comment for us, or if you want to talk to us about E3, what you want to see, also definitely come drop a comment in our YouTube and Envision Gaming. We're going to be archiving all of our podcast episodes on there, or you can message us on Twitter at Envision Gaming at Envision_org. Excuse me, sorry, jump to conclusions there. Or you can email us at envisiongamingpodcast@gmail.com. So I think that's it, boys. Pretty good first episode, I would say. Probably a little longer than we hoped.
Yeah,
but
if you stuck around to the very end, you are a trooper and a true fan, and I love you already.
yes, 100%.
Yeah, we had a lot to talk about. I enjoyed myself, so that's all that matters. I'm very selfish. That's all we had. All right, all
Yeah.
right, all right.
A lot of content.
See you guys next time.
Later.
Catch you all later.